of the Nahar Jeetu Bookathon presented in association with the Rai Soni Foundation. In this session, we shall dive into the tips to build your own personal brand through the book A to Z of Personal Branding by Ms. Nandita Pandey. Ms. Pandey offers a practical approach to building personal brands, correlating each alphabet letter with essential aspects. This guide includes real-life examples and actionable tips, providing a clear path to enhance personal branding. Alongside her book, she has written 52 weeks of personal branding journal, which helps implement these key learnings, encouraging self-discovery. Her personal branding cards add a playful element, making the process engaging and effective. Our speaker for this session is Ms. Nandita Pandey herself. She's an accomplished leadership coach, mentor, and personal branding expert holding a psychology degree from Delhi University. She has also authored Dressology and is recognized for her expertise in personal style and branding. Her numerous certifications and awards, including the Superwoman Achievers Award, highlight her dedication to empowering individuals through her extensive experience. Our moderator for this session is Mr. Jogender Singh, the President and Group CFO of the Hero Enterprise, which includes companies engaged in manufacturing, real estate, and insurance broking operations. He is also on the board of several companies in Hero Enterprise. He was featured as one of the most influential Punjabis of the world by Intellectual Punjabi Chamber in Commerce, New Delhi in 2020 and 2023, and one of the best leaders in Asia in 2023, and has many CFO awards to his credit. He has an interest in creative fields and has translated the best business book of the year, The Making of Hero, as Hero Ki Kahani. He has been featured in books and magazines for his social roles. Now, without further ado, I'd like to hand over the session to our moderator.
Hello and welcome. Today we have a real treat. Our guest is the Picasso of personal branding, the Shakespeare of self-promotion, and the Einstein of emotional intelligence. If branding were an Olympic sport, they would have more gold than not for Knox. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Nandita Pandey, the mastermind behind A to Z of personal branding. Hello, Nandita.
Good evening, sir.
Nandita is a leadership coach, mentor, and personal branding expert. With a degree in psychology from Delhi University, she wrote Dressology and A to Z of personal branding, offering practical advice on personal style and branding. Her tools like personal branding cards, I have them with me. So you have these personal branding cards, and 52 weeks of personal branding journal help people apply these concepts. Nandita has numerous certifications and awards, including the Superwoman Achiever Award. As they say, you have only one chance to make the first impression. Personal branding to me is being true version of yourself. The deliberate and strategic process of defining and showcasing your unique identity, skills, values, and personality to create a distinct and memorable impression on others. It's about shaping how you're perceived, both personality-wise and professionally, and differentiating yourself in a crowded and competitive world. Personal branding is not about creating a false persona, please understand, but rather about authenticity of presenting and representing who you are. It involves aligning your values, passions, strengths with your actions and communication, ensuring that they resonate with your target audience. In today's interconnected world, personal branding has become increasingly vital. It allows individuals to stand out, build trust, and establish credibility. Nandita Pandey, are you ready to reveal all your secrets? Or should we just give everybody your journal? So, okay.
I'm ready. I have no secrets. I'm fine with that.
Okay, good. So, the first question is, how much of what you have mentioned in the book, A to Z of personal branding, how much of it have you incorporated in your journey?
So, okay, let me go back a little to answer that question. I said everything that I've written in the book is something I've experienced myself. My journey right from the time I moved from a small town to a city like Delhi, the capital, to from north to south, has been seen a lot of transitions, a lot of learning, unlearning. Corporate world to business, failed miserably, picked up myself again and started doing things differently. Uh, and whatever I've written is something that I've learned on the way and got validated by the people I interviewed over the last 5, 6 years to say what has been their journey on personal branding. Put all those nuggets together and brought out the book. So if you ask me how much of it has incorporated, I'll say 100% and more. There's still much more to what I have done, but yes, this is what I have done, and I have lived every page of it. If I can say that truly, yeah.
Good. I think that's very important. This is what I said, being true to yourself. So, in your opinion, what is the single most important principle of personal branding that everybody should focus on, as you have discussed in the book?
So, like you already said, sir, authenticity is the foundation that we need to have. But also, I need to bring out another point here that along with authenticity, you also need to know what is your vision for yourself. A lot of people don't know where they are going. And then they start their branding journey. And that's the biggest mistake they make. I start off, मतलब मैं अपने घर से चल जाती हूँ, I go out, but I don't know where I'm going. So I keep walking, the journey is beautiful. But at the end of the day, if I don't reach where I want to reach, I feel frustrated. So personal branding is all about two things. One, knowing where you want to go and where do you start off with. So the authenticity, which is overused today, is the key because people only connect with people who are genuine. People connect with you when they have dil se connect. I use that word very often, but so that and knowing where you want to go are the two critical pillars of personal branding.
Yeah, that's very right. That reminds me of that story when you reach on a crossing and you ask, which way should I take? There are 4 ways. We say, okay, where do you have to go? Said, I don't know. So say it doesn't really matter whichever way you take. So it's very, very important for you to really understand what is your own vision, what is your own target, what is your own aspiration. And that aspiration has to be truly a good aspiration. Your target has to be aspirational target. I mean, I always talk about that.
Very true. And it's not about, I'll add on to that, it's not about the numbers in business or a professional goal. It's where do you see yourself? I'll put it as what is the legacy you want to leave behind? When you're no longer in the world as a person, and that is what we are remembered as. मेरी designation के लिए people will not remember me. People will remember me how I've touched their lives. So what is the legacy you want to leave behind? And that will get replicated in anything and everything you do, right from your business to your professional life, to your personal life, to your social life. So if that is clear, what are your core values that you're looking at and where do you want to go? I think that will be the key factor that will help you define your personal brand, according to me.
I think you're absolutely right. That's what, many times we have said that, I've said that you have to be true version of yourself. And being a true version of yourself is a skill. That means this is something which is learnable. It's not something that you have to be born with. So absolutely, you understand where do you want to go? How can you be the true and best version of yourself? That is, excellence is a number of, steps taken continuously and not an accident. I think that's important. So my next question to you is, what is the biggest challenge people face while trying to build a strong personal brand and how can they overcome? You have given such advice in the book. So how would you define that?
So I'll give you my story a little to explain that a little better. When I started off moved from my corporate world and left a good job, and then I said, okay, I want to get into entrepreneurship. I wanted to become a businesswoman who has a revenue, apna business, that kind of a logic. But then I didn't know what is it that I really want. In what area? I knew I wanted to do it in the field of HR because that's what my specialization was. That's where my skills and competence was. But what within HR do I stand for? So only when I know, as an individual, the biggest mistake people know is they go after the strategies of personal branding. And there are enough people who will tell you, go to a PR agency, get a social media person, get your posts out, write a blog. What do I write the blog on? What is the value that I want to depict? What is the version that I want to show the people? Who is my target audience? If those very questions are not clear, you can keep putting social media posts, you get thousands of likes, but as a business owner, it will not translate into business. as a as a professional, it will not translate into people being genuine followers of you. It's not about the number of likes, it's about people genuinely connecting. So the biggest mistake people make is they don't know why they want to get their brand story done, and more than that, what is it that they want? How will always follow. So like Simon Sinek says, know your why. I say know your what in personal branding. What is it that you want? Then the how will come. And we have enough and more strategies off the net. Other than that, experts are there to help you. But why do you want that? And what is it that you want? If that is clear, it helps you a lot. And that's where people fail. 80% of the people who come to me today are people who've actually not done it right the first time because they started with the how.
Yeah, yeah. And we are discussing, and probably the first thing that we have discussed is being authentic. So, what, in your view, are the hallmarks of truly authentic and effective personal branding?
Uh, People connect with you when you show your vulnerabilities. All of us are vulnerable on certain points, right? If I project myself larger than thou, if I say I'm next to God, whatever, we all make mistakes. So if you're open to making mistakes, if you're telling people, yes, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone, I think that is being authentic. Authentic is not about, saying certain words correctly. It's not about language again. It's about showing who you truly are. Say, I'm scared. I was afraid, I overcame it. I am still not comfortable doing things. So if you show your vulnerabilities to people, if you show your empathy, if you show your connect to people, that is what authenticity is all about. It's about not saying the right things all the time. It's about saying what is true to you. So at times I've said I've made a mistake and I'm fine making a mistake because at the end of the day, I'm human. I will make mistakes.
Oh, you're
So
right, absolutely right. When you talk about being true to yourself, the life is not a straight path. It has ups and downs, and probably since it has ups and downs, that's what gives the true meaning to life. So failures or difficulties or vulnerabilities or your weaknesses, in my view, are as important as your successes, and
more
one has to
important
be
at
very
times.
open about that.
Yeah. At
So
times I feel like more to failures and learnings than about your successes, because success, yes, but what you do when you fall, that talks about you. So that is
yes,
for me
absolutely.
authentic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unless you have failed, you cannot progress. This
You will
is
not
this is
know
my
the real
firm
meaning of
belief.
success.
Yes, you don't know the taste of success. That's very right.
Exactly.
There's another topic, which you have now from A to Z. You have given a whole lot of attributes. So I'll pick up a
Yeah.
few, and
Sure.
we'll see, how do we really, go for that. So if I really talk about the EQ,
Hmm.
which comes on the letter E, I've often said EQ is more important than IQ. In today's
Very
world,
true.
where it's an interconnected world, and a community around us. Even new concepts like ESG, etc. We are talking about S, which is social. So having connect with people is absolutely very important, and a very important thing for that is your emotional quotient, or EQ. So EQ is often said to be very critical component of personal branding. Can you give
Yes.
some examples, share an example of when higher EQ helped you in your personal branding journey?
So EQ for me is one, knowing what you are going through at one point in time, because like you said, life is a roller coaster ride for all of us, be it business or personal. So at times you are angry, at times you're agitated, at times you just want to scream at that person in front of you, your team member, to say, you messed it up, right? Understanding the fact that you're angry, understanding your emotions, and also understanding the impact of your words, your emotions on the other person, for me is EQ. So what has helped me a lot of times initially, and that is why I said life is a journey for me, it has taught me a lot. There were times when I was either in the silence or violence stage in corporate life, very honestly. Either I'll keep quiet about what is happening, or when I'm angry, I'll just go and say anything that came to my mind. It's not that I was not supposed to say things, but things can be said in a better way to ensure there is harmony in the office. So I've done those things in my professional life, and I realized I made a lot of blunders. I lost good people around me, people I still wonder, why it happened, kind of stuff. And all of us would have done that. So for me, EQ has been a journey where I realized that my words make an impact on others. the way I respond, even my facial expression at times could be very important when my children are looking at me and they fail and this has typically helped me in times where my team has not done well or we've not achieved targets. My expression, my emotion, how I respond to them has been the key factor where people have said, hey, Nandita, we'll go back and do it again. We'll spend 12 hours instead of 30. If I scream at them, shout at them, they will do it because of fear. But today, when they see me equally, into the problem, I empathize with them. I appreciate them for the efforts that they put in and say, okay, it's okay, we've done it. Let's, go back to the drawing board again. It's the level of commitment that I get from them. It's the level of, togetherness that I get from them, which helps us push our way forward. And being such a small company that we are today, and the kind of work that we are doing, I am saying I'm very proud of the team that I have. So I think that is the connect that I have with each one of them at an individual level has helped me. So that is where EQ comes in for me.
I can very well, relate it to the corporate world, in which we are. And there are often we are, starting a new program, or we want to change a new software, or we want to bring in new practices or new processes. And there's a question of that change management. And I always say change management, there are only three factors to manage change management. People. So if you can manage people, and people you can manage only through empathy. When you get into their shoes, you understand their point of view. You listen not to respond, but to understand. I think that is, empathy truly kicks in.
So also in personal branding, how it helps you is it shows consistency. So a day when I'm very happy, I will show the same, I won't say same emotions, I'm not happy, but EQ for a very important reason in personal branding in particular helps people know you're predictable. Also helps you show consistency, and consistency is the only key to personal branding. One day I'm very nice to my team, the second day I fling papers at them. Nobody would want to work with me. So my personal brand goes down. And it's all everywhere. It's on social media, it's on interactions and networking. How consistent you are enhances or makes your brand stronger, and the trust in you increase. So that is why EQ plays a very important role when it comes to consistency.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that. There is another aspect, that you have talked about in the book with the letter H, and that's humor. And I have always believed that it's a very, very strong glue. Yeah. It's a very, very big icebreaker. But even beyond icebreaker and beyond, being a glue, there's a lot more to humor than, what really meets the eye. So what do you think? Do you really believe that humor is the best way to connect with an audience? And how important do you think humor is from personal branding perspective?
So for me, humor, one, is an icebreaker. Two, it's a sign of intelligence for me. Only people with high intelligence can have the presence of mind and use humor. And I'm not talking telling jokes is not humor for me. Humor is making the best of a situation. So for me, I live humor. In fact, if you ask any of my participants, I use a lot of humor on myself. And that is something I do to drive home a point. Rather than putting it on somebody, I use it as a humor and put it, and then people laugh and that will say, so we also do that. So that is realization that is there. So it also shows that I'm vulnerable. I'm open to discussing. I'm open to making mistakes. And that helps me connect with people. So I appear as a human to them rather than somebody as a mentor or a coach to them. That's one. Two, for me, humor again is something that helps me build relationship with people. And I'll tell you what we are doing currently. We are working with an organization on a very sensitive topic of diversity and inclusion, and talking about racial, caste, regional and gender diversity can lead to a lot of, being preachy or, this thing. So we are using a lot of humor on my own self, my own jokes, my own, upbringing and how I have lived life. And at the end of the program, people come back and say, we never thought it was you're telling us something, but there's a lot of realization that has happened. So for me, humor is also a way to make people realize certain things without offending them. So I think that for me is very important. How do you convey your point without rubbing people the wrong way? So that for me is
I think that point is very important. Humor, while is very, very appreciative, and you said, only it has, only intelligent people can really do
Yes,
it.
I
would say,
strongly believe
I mean,
that.
you can practice it, but there is a very thin line in using humor, it to be the right kind of humor. It should not be black humor. It should not, uh, you can have humor on yourself, but with the right meaning and right intent. It should not be sounding as racist or, something. I think that is very important. While using humor, you should be very careful, when you do that.
True.
So, can you give me an example of how you would have used humor in your branding efforts?
Okay, so if you look at a lot of our posts, my post in particular, the recent one that I've used is I've asked people, where do I come from? Because this is something which has started recently a couple of times in my training programs also, where people ask me, which part of India are you from? And from my name, they'll say something. From my face, there's something. They'll say कि बाल ऐसे हैं तो मलयाली होगी. You speak Hindi well, so not say okay, but you're too educated to be from UP, but you're a Pandey. So I use a lot of humor to say how we have so much biases within us in the country based on our looks, our appearance. If I wear a skirt, I'm from Goa. So I use a lot of those humor in my training programs and while connecting. So people don't feel offended, but they realize that yes, there is something that we are also doing. So, and my last two posts are only about using humor at work and how I make fun of my own self at work. So it's coming out of my own comfort zone at times. Just give me 1 second.
From UP, that could also be a little on the edge.
We'll edit that, huh? Yeah, sure. We can start.
Right. Yeah. So good. I agree with that, Nandita. I pick up another element from your book on letter T, that you say is tribe.
Yeah.
So in the context of personal branding, what does finding your tribe mean to you?
So for me, finding your tribe is finding people who have similar value systems as yours, people who believe in certain, I won't say the same topics or the same concept, but have similar value systems. It is about finding people around you who, in the long run, are invested in your success. So it's more of a personal journey or a personal growth rather than a professional one. It can lead to professional growth, obviously, but tribe are people who push you when it is required. You don't question their intention because you know they have the best of your interest in mind. So if you ask me, I can consider you as a part of my tribe who's always been there, who's pushed me to say, go ahead and do it. When you don't believe in yourself, those people believe in you. So that for me is a tribe who will be there for you no matter what.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful example. That comes to my mind is when I take it to scriptures, when Hanuman was given kind of a curse or a shrap after he had gobbled Suryadev, that he would forget as a child, that he would forget his powers, and when he had to go beyond the ocean to find Sita Ma. He could not believe that he could do it. And then there was Jamvant who reminded him and said, Kachup Sad Raha Balwana. So you
Somebody
have that
who reminds
power.
you of your powers. Yes.
If you have the right tribe around you, they actually make you know your own self and know your own powers. And that's a big synergy that you can have for sure.
There are people who will actually tell you, even if they say things to you, I've been blessed with people like that in my life, who've just pushed me into the swimming pool without me knowing swimming. But they somewhere had the confidence that I could do it. And I knew they were there to watch me over. So those are the people of your tribe. My team today is my tribe. I tell them any time of the day, any time of the night, I have a problem. And they just said, okay, let's do it together. So that takes time. That also means getting out of your comfort zone at times, because you might also be doing things for them. It's a reciprocal relationship.
Right.
So it's about giving without expecting. So that is how you find your tribe and build your tribe. Yeah.
So tell me, how did you find your tribe and how has that group supported your personal branding efforts?
So if I take professionally, I have a couple of people. I would take you. I have also had a mentor from my business side. They've said, Nandita, go ahead. When it was, when I remember coming back to you a couple of years back and I said, I want to start something on my own, you said, Karo, कुछ help चाहिए होगी तो बताना. And you've always called up after that and asked, what are you doing? What is the help that you need? So you know there is someone there to support you. And you've pushed me also. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? In business, I had this person who told me, this is a dream. I've recently started something very new in business and we'll be launching it in the next 3 months. And I was talking to my business mentor and he said, Karo, I said, I don't think I can handle it at this point. He said, go ahead. If you have a dream, don't go live it. And when I went back to my team today, who you see very often with me, they said, we will do it. Come on, Nandita, let's do it. So the people are there to say, we will do it. Yes, the effort will be put by me. But I know there's a group of people standing behind me more than my family will always do that for me. But there's a group
Yes.
of people who are professionals, who know me, who understand me, and then they push me. I feel good. Even if they say you did not do it well, I know they mean
They
better
mean
of
it.
me.
Right.
So genuine
Right.
feedback aata hai. It's not,
Yes.
oh,
Yes.
you're brilliant. I have a friend who tells me if you want mollycoddling, if you want good feedback, don't ask me. So I need people like that who can show you the mirror at times. So that is my drive for me. Initially, it requires a lot of trust, honestly. So it takes time. But yes, so finding your tribe does take time. But the trust that you have in them will ensure that you grow 10x, if not more.
Oh, I think that's perfectly good. And having critics around you is also as important. Having
Yes.
people saying
Yes.
yes, you did well. Both
Yeah.
ways. You say "Nindak
True.
mere rakhiye, aangan koti chabaye," right?
True.
A very related concept with finding your tribe is networking. While in tribe, you are
Yes.
looking at similar
Hmm.
values.
Yeah.
Networking probably there could be complementary values and complementary
Yes.
skill sets. That would be there. So networking is another thing that you have talked about. So in your view, just tell me, how can introverts effectively network to build their personal brand? For extroverts, it becomes a little easier. But if you're an introvert, how can you effectively network to build, their personal brands, considering
Yeah.
they might find some social interactions, draining? That sometimes some people have that.
So the difference between networking and tribe is your group. It's more personal.
Right.
Networking, I'll take more from a professional perspective here. So introverts do find it draining when they meet people. So a couple of things that they can do is, one, it is imperative to network. As they say, your network is your net worth today, right? And especially if you're in the business world, you need to be meeting people, interacting with them. So identify the people you want to meet, not so much with an agenda to get something, but people who will be able to build you up, help you. And as an introvert, when you go, so one of the key skills of introvert is they are very good listeners, right? They talk less, they listen more. So what happens is when you are building rapport as an introvert, you're able to build rapport faster because everybody likes to be with someone who listens to them. बोलना सबको अच्छा लगता है. We don't find people who listen to us. So when introverts ask questions, they're generally more slower. They're more, they appear more interested. They are also most of the times. So the person in front of them does see a genuineness in them, and they appreciate that yes, I have somebody who I can explain my business to, explain who I am to. So that is one of the things that helps them. What they can do is they can start, they know networking is there, they know it have to get out of their comfort zone. So rather than straight away moving out of their comfort zone, they take a baby step by preparing certain things about themselves. So if I'm going for a networking meeting for say a social networking, just prepare in your head 4 things that you would be talking about as start points. So what happens, since you've rehearsed it, you know you're not very uncomfortable talking about it. Similarly, when you're going to a business networking, know a little bit about your business. Start with the very known things and let people ask you questions. You don't have to meet 10 people. Let me also say networking is not passing business cards and meeting 10 people. It's meeting the 5 right people. So you have to do your own homework before you go and network. So those are certain things you can do. Yeah, as introverts.
Yeah, that's right. There is another aspect, that you have touched upon, and we will talk about, the impact of social media. So if I, and I often said that, there was a McKinsey study that talked about, and it's a dated study, at least 4 years old. They talked about there are 38 billion interconnected machines, which means for one human being on Earth, there are
Yeah.
at least 4 interconnected machines.
Machines. Yeah.
And this kind of hyper interconnectivity, which would have gone up many more times in last 4 years, that moment of truth, your footprint on social media is very, 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 very important. So you have described it as zero moment of truth. So what are the biggest mistakes people make on social media that damage their personal brands, and how can they avoid it?
So for me, ZMOT is the moment of truth. And why we say social media? Because even before people meet each other, they would have researched on everybody else on social media. That is why we are talking more on social media here. But the mistakes people make is, one, they're not authentic. They try to project an image. It's like, olden days, we had a photograph for a girl. And when you see the girl, it was a different picture. It should not be that. So your true self has to come out on social media. It is about being authentic, and it may look overused, but you have to be genuine in your posts, in your feeds. Be it your LinkedIn, be it your Twitter, be it X as they call it, or a social, even your Instagram. There has to be consistency in the way you project yourself. If there is inconsistency, I don't know who you are. I appear one person in LinkedIn and another person on Facebook. People get confused. Who is Nandita?
Yes.
So that is there. You need to be consistent. You need to be genuine and authentic. You need to be able to know what is personal and what is professional and demarcate that. But we need to very clearly understand whatever the footprints on social media don't go away. And if I want to dig on somebody, as they say, you can go back to any number, you can make it, but people can go back and check your profiles. You don't know what is coming up on terms of the news, and also you have to be very careful what you put out on social media. It's about being very sensitive when you're replying to comments. I can communicate and say something on a topic, but I can be sensitive and do that. I don't have to rub people the wrong way. I don't have to be abusive, aggressive. I don't agree with your point of view on a topic on social media, a post that is there. I can be very nice and say, hey, this is what I think and this is my point of view, rather than saying, you see. So what happens when I research on somebody, and if that post has trended or something, and I'm researching on somebody, you see a lot of negative comments by them. I'm somewhere very wary of doing business with them or interacting with them, thinking, ye jana ladai karega, this person is not good. So you have to be very careful of how you project yourself on social media. Consistency, is something that I'm talking about, and being authentic and real.
So how
and
do you
being
balance
sensitive.
this? Yeah, how do you balance this authenticity and professionalism then on social media?
So you can balance it. You can share your views, and you must share your views if you are an influencer, which most people are. But you need to be sensitive on how you put the information across. That is why humor comes into picture, right? That is why if you are able to give scenarios which are your own study, rather than saying you did this. I put the case on me. I would like to do it. This is how I would have done it. It makes it more personal. People start relating to you rather than you being aggressive and abusive on social media. So you have to be very, very sensitive about those issues. And you see a lot of trolling happens because of that. And this is not good publicity. No matter how many likes you may get, you may be trending on word charts. But in the long run, it does not help a business owner. It doesn't help a professional in the long run. Maybe
I
other professions like
completely agree.
media or something could be different. But I think as professionals, we don't want our image changes. And that's where the conflict is. You're projecting something, you are something. So that's where the problem will start for you in the
Yes. No, I completely agree with that. Even during our recruitment phase, we do a lot of checking of social media, and we can't really have somebody who has either very poor image on social media or very contrasting image on different social media platforms. So that consistency point that you made, I think that goes a long way. And in this kind of age where your digital footprint remains, the data remains forever. The beers used to say diamond is forever. I would say today the data is forever, right?
True.
So therefore, you have to be very careful. And if you're very true and authentic, you don't have to be ultra careful. So that
because you are who you are. Yeah.
Yes, you can't.
So empathy is what comes in onto social media very effectively.
That's
if
right.
you are empathetic, it just shows. Yes.
Yes. So Nandita, tell me, if you would have a coffee date with maybe a historical figure, a current figure, or celebrity, or whoever, to discuss personal branding, who would it be and why?
Okay, I don't want to sound political at this time when elections are just over, but for me, a person I'd really like to have a coffee date with would be our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. I
And
think
why?
for me, a person who has lived what a personal brand is him. The way we've seen the last 10 years, of course, but more than that, the way he's projected himself, the way he knows who he is, and he projects it that way. He's genuine. He doesn't put on a language. He uses the language what he's comfortable in. He connects with the people. He reads, and then every speech that you listen of his connects with the people. You will see his attire changing. You will see the way his media is handled is very genuine. So when I talk about a person, I would really like to understand from him what made him change that. Of course, I'm not getting into the political aspect of it, but in terms of a person who's genuinely, I would like to sit and understand more about him. I read a lot about him. I'd still like to do it. If you ask me from a professional side, from the industry side, one person whose personal brand I really admire is Mr. Anand Mahindra.
Mm, okay.
I'm a big fan of his, and interestingly, my first program on personal branding 10 years back was given by Mahindra to me. So that in itself, a leader 10 years back thought that his team needs personal branding is a vision in itself. So for me, he's a person with a vision, and I really I like the way he actually carries himself and the way he handles his social media, authentic person. So that's what I like about, yeah, two people.
Absolutely. I
If I
think
can get
you
a coffee date with
yes.
both, I'll be the happiest in the
Yes.
world.
Oh, of course, I mean, both these gentlemen have shown the vision, and apart from the vision, then they have shown the execution capability, and they have walked the talk. I think
Yes,
that
exactly.
is
So yeah,
truly, very, very important.
and they appear genuine. It's not that they appear larger than they are larger than life in their whatever they're doing, but they appear very there's a connect I can have with them. So they yeah.
Yes,
So
yes, that's right.
you do feel that, acha, I know I can relate to it. So that is what for me is a personal brand. You may be larger than life, but can you have that connect with people? So both two
Yes.
people. Yeah.
So, Nandita, if your personal brand was a superhero, what superpower would it have, and why?
So superhero, I don't know, but for superpower that I would like to have are two. One is empathy, and the other is vision and focus. So the more focused you are in doing what you're doing, you are able to. The vision is important. Yes, once you have a vision and you have the focus and the empathy, I think the sky is the limit.
Oh, it
I
was truly
genuinely
wonderful.
think,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
it
yes.
is.
It was truly wonderful talking to you, Nandita. That was good. So, this is Nandita who has written the book A to Z of personal branding. She has also written another book, which is Traceology. And a fun part, again, from this book is that we also have some cards on this. And these cards are, maybe I should show a few, and these are cards like this, and each card has a value written on this. So you have leadership, so it talks about what leadership is, what are the key values, and what is the question that you should ask.
So
So if I talk about, let's say, mindset, so it has again talks about what is mindset, what are key values of mindset, like optimism, tenacity, and open-mindedness. And a question: how do you maintain a growth mindset in the face of challenges or setbacks? So when you go through this book, I think it's very, very important that you not only read through the book. The book has been written in a way that it is a manual which can be practiced. So there are a lot of practical values on that, and that this is not something that you read one day and forget about it and keep it in a
true.
corner. These cards help you that every single day you can pick one card, just read it, understand, question, discuss with people around you. So it was wonderful, wonderful speaking to you, Nandita.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
So my question, Nandita, is when you wrote a book. So I think people write a book and then we say, okay, this is fine. I've written a book. I can talk about this. I can promote it. Why these cards? What is the significance of these cards?
Okay. So
Why did you
the
make?
book, why did I
And
make the
also,
cards?
how do you want people to use these cards?
Okay, I'll tell you two things then. So when we wrote the book is about my personal journey and a lot of interviews that are taken. So the way made the book is it also has a real life case study of a person who we think has lived the value the most. Okay. So that's for people who love reading. But if I look at the younger generation, they don't like reading too much. They want instant answers. And that is where the cards come into picture. So what you could do is just shuffle the cards like a tarot card. And that's very much in these days. Just pick up one card, read the core value, answer the question and start reflecting on it and start applying that in your life. So there are 52 cards for 52 weeks. So if you live a card for a week, in next 1 year, I can guarantee you that your personal brand from move from A to B, provided you know the vision that you're going for. So the idea is you can use it per week. We've also been a lot of people like writing and journaling these days. So we've also got a journal in place for people who can answer the questions, reflective questions, and go. Because I've seen when I was reading a lot of books, I used to make my notes because I'm a person like that. I highlight, make notes. What did I learn from it? So we thought, why not give a journal to people who can journal? Because this is not a one-time thing, like you said, sir. It's a journey. And everybody's journey is different. I may be traveling the same path as another person, but my journey will be different. So it's very important to journal or ask the right questions and get the right answers for you to move in that journey. So that is why the journal is in place. The card is something that you can use as a quick fix. And of course, people who love reading can read about case studies and stories also. So that's why the three things.
Like these cards, your journal is also something. If you said personal branding is a skill that can be learned. So how do you learn? You not only read, but also then you practice.
Yes.
So these are the tools that are there, for the practice. And I was just, going through some of these pages, which talks about, focus and strategy. So says before you start some work, always ask yourself 3 questions. Why am I doing it? What might the result be? Will I be successful? Only when you think deeply and find satisfactory answers to these questions, go ahead. Chanakya said that.
Yes.
The chapter on influence reads, never mistake the power of influence. And then it talks about, give some instances and then why become an influencer. So it gives you a platform to share your message, personal growth and development, influence as a currency, monetization opportunities. Also, it talks about how to be an influencer. And today, influencer is a very big, term as of now in this market. So they find
you need to be an influencer if you have to do anything, be it corporate, be it business, or be it even a student. You need to be able to influence people. That's where you get your things done. It's all about influencing. Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree with you. So, and you've said how to become an influencer, find your niche, generate content, create a timeline and plan, engage with your audience, use data and analytics, and building an impactful personal brand. So when one goes through the book, you find very, very practical, actionable suggestions and tips. So mindset says the problem is not the problem, but the problem is your attitude about the problem. Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah. I also said, a wonderful book, that says, fall in love with the problem.
That's a nice one.
And
maybe next book I'll report that.
Yes. When you fall in love with the problem, I think then you're opening your mind to a lot of solutions and options, which are available to you. So I think, this was, maybe if you would allow me, we would do some rapid fire. Is that okay, Nandita?
Yeah, absolutely fine. As long as they're easy questions.
Okay, fine enough. Coffee or tea?
Coffee throughout the day, tea in the morning.
Okay. Favorite book on personal branding?
My own.
Oh, good. Yes, of course. One word that describes your personal brand.
Person with no pretenses.
What's your go-to social media platform?
LinkedIn.
What's your morning? Are you a morning person or night owl?
Night owl, definitely.
Who inspires you the most in your personal branding space?
The person who's inspired me the most was my mother. I think she was much ahead of her time. She taught us things which from a small town where she came from. and the kind of limited exposure we had as children, she was much ahead of her time. She taught us things which I read in books today. So, yeah,
Yes.
the
Wonderful.
book is dedicated to her.
What is the first thing that you do when you wake up?
Use my mobile. It's not the right answer to hear, but I'm being all genuine. I
No,
check my mobile.
when
That's the first
when
thing I
I
do.
wake up, I always, fold my hands and give gratitude to the Almighty that He has given me another day. What's the best piece of advice you have ever received? I know you give a lot of advice to people, but what is it that you have received?
The best advice I've ever received is you can't please everybody. You can't make everybody happy. So just do what you think is the best and do it with your full intention. अच्छे intention से करो, बाकी छोड़ो. So don't try to make everybody happy.
Right.
That's the best
And what's
advice
your
I've got, and that's really helped me in life.
yes. So what is the biggest pet peeve in the personal branding?
When people don't walk the talk.
Okay, good. I understand that. What is your favorite way to unwind after a busy day?
Music, and walk.
Good. So wonderful. I think, Nandita, this was a wonderful discussion that we have had, and
Thank you so much.